bowling along nicely, picnicking on history.
Enjoy the word.
Bowling along nicely,
Good.
picnicking on history. Bowling along nicely, picnicking on history.
On that one.
Bowling along nicely. Bowling.
So the play we're doing is called The Matchgirls. It's a musical that was written in the 1960s by a chap called Owen, and it's the story of a group of girls back in 1888 who walked out of their jobs at the Bryant May factory making matches, kind of in solidarity with one of their number who was unfairly dismissed, and also because of the terrible working conditions that they were suffering, and went on strike.
So it centres around Kate, who's a leader of one of the match girls, or makes herself a kind of leader, is appointed, which is kind of how unionism started, really.
Good evening, Mrs. Besant.
Good evening. How do you know Mrs. Besant?
Most of the dockers know Mrs. Besant, some of them wouldn't mind knowing her a bit better.
Good. And she starts to kind of build a kind of reaction against the really poor working conditions they've got. Meets a journalist called Annie Besant, again this is all historical, and leads a strike out of the factory.
If we ain't working, they don't have to pay us.
I'll work. I'm willing to work.
Wait, I've got it. We'll go to that and Bailey.
Not me.
Are you off your nut?
We'll give them a surprise. We've got to go and get the others.
What do you mean a surprise?
And what about the la-di-da?
We've got work to do. Let's go find the others. I'll tell you on the way. No, I'll tell you on the way. Let's go find the others.
This July, it's 125 years since the original strike. And so Unite, who are the country's biggest union, I think, they are putting together an entire festival about the Matchgirls. And this play is kind of the centrepiece of that.
I think one of the main things, like you get a period piece of this, which is kind of Victorian. And we've got a bunch of modern community girls.
Waiting, waiting,
Speed up.
everybody's waiting. You spend your life in waiting, let the world go by.
And we've tried to toe that line, whereas obviously it's all still period, but it's just got a bit of modern flair in.
Waiting, waiting, all the world is waiting. You spend your life in waiting till the day you die. Day you die. Day you die. Day you die.
Good. Then we
This is David Hewson.
Oh, introducing each other.
Okay.
This is Eilidh Debonnaire.
Yeah, we're both MDing this show together, sharing the role and sort of splitting up certain responsibilities.
ready. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Waiting, waiting, always bleeding, waiting,
Waiting.
waiting,
Waiting.
always bleeding, waiting,
Always
bleeding, waiting.
With the community cast, the whole project, we wanted to have a kind of arc of of their learning experience so they could develop as performers throughout it.
Waiting, waiting, everybody's waiting. You spend your life in waiting, let the world go by.
Well, really well. I mean, when they're all together and we do big group ones, they seem to just pick it up straight away. When there's individual bits, I think it's a bit scarier that I'm doing an individual bit.
Waiting, waiting, all the world is waiting. You spend your life in waiting till the day you die. 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 Waiting, waiting, always bleeding, waiting. You spend your life in waiting, let the day go by. Waiting, waiting, ain't it aggravating? You spend your life in waiting till the day goes by. You get a situation, you're waiting for a rise, but you ain't got a hope until someone falls down and dies. Bless you.
Yeah, and also with John, the three of us have worked together a lot in different kind of capacities, and it's nice to just be able to check in with each other on how it's going and support each other and give each other pointers, or just to be able to talk honestly about how it's going.
The problem is the gap between. It's much stronger with Joe up there.
I actually disagree. I thought the first entrance you did was much stronger with him stepping in with the boys behind him here.
It's very ambitious. I mean, you know, Wilton's is ambitious enough because it's such an amazing space, you know, historically and aesthetically. But also to pull a musical round over 10 Sundays, you know, is a bit, if you stop and think about it, which I try not to, it's quite daunting.
Our special beauty cream.
We love the property.
We're missing a dog.
Governors don't charge a fee. Give it away for free.
Phosphorus.
Yeah, so it's Wilton's Music Hall. Starts July. I'll start that again.
Phosphorus.
So it's Matchgirls the musical at Wilton's Music Hall.
In the first week of July, the 3rd, 4th and 5th, shows at 7:30 and matinees on the Thursday and Friday at 1.
Brilliant. Great.
Good?
Never respectable, always delectable. Phosphorus. Phosphorus.
Okay, good. So that's that.